Welcome back to Donington Park, everybody. If you joined us for race one of the 2024 Woods Food Services Porsche Club Motorsport Boxster Cup, well, we've got race two ready for you now. Ryan Charters claimed the first win of the season. Who's going to claim the second win of the season? The cars are already on their formation lap, and we are looking forward to another 25-minute race from them. Now, this grid is based on the second fastest times that were set in the qualifying session this morning. It bears no relevance to the finishing order from the race that we saw earlier on today. So let's guide you then through the grid and the way that they line up based on the second fastest times that were posted over the course of qualifying this morning. Now, Wayne Gregory started the first race of the weekend from pole position. His fastest time in qualifying was a 1 minute 1 minute 21. He also managed another good lap. So Wayne Gregory starts from pole position alongside is the race one winner Ryan Charters. Row 2 of the grid, it's Perry Darling and Darren King, and the third row of the grid is where we see Ben Grucock and Faye Noble-Evans. Row 4 of the grid, Sarah Thompson lines up alongside Graham Hurd on row number 4. Row 5 of the grid, it's Eric Bridges and Mike Kirtler that lines up there on the 5th row of the grid. Nick Wallace, if his car has been repaired, hopefully is there on the inside of row number 6 alongside Matt Goff. And row number 7 should see Sarah Wood lining up alongside Craig Horvath, who had a brilliant squabble with her in the race earlier on today in race number 1. Nick Lawrence is next up on row number 8 of the grid with David Hussey for company. And then the final row of the grid, they'll go off 10 seconds later than others. It will be William Kirtler and Martin Mason that are at the tail end of the field, and they will be held for 10 seconds before they are then subsequently allowed to get going in the race. So Wayne Gregory missed out on a finish even earlier on today because he got tangled up whilst trying to lap the back markers up at Coppice Corner. Himself and Nick Wallace making contact with each other, and both ended up retiring, one on the spot, Nick Wallace in the gravel trap up there. Wayne Gregory brought his car back into the pit lane, but that was him done for the day. Still nice conditions as well. The temperature's steadily been climbing all day. Even though it's now 5 o'clock, air temperature is still very slightly high, not by much. It's gone up about 1.8 degrees all day, but it's been a nice day. Chilly, but a nice day. So we're about to get the second race of the season underway for the Woods Food Services Porsche Classics Boxster Cup. The green flag waved at the tail end of the field once everybody is safely in position, and then we will get things going for our final Boxster race of the day. We've still got another race coming up for the Porsche Club Motorsport Championship and AM Championship. That will be directly after this one. So 25 minutes on the clock. Red lights on, red lights go out. Long hold now. The red car of Ryan Charters looking to see what he might be able to do, but Wayne Gregory is going to get going. Of course, we've got those two cars that have been held at the back for 10 seconds can finally charge their way up towards Redgate Corner. It's going to be Wayne Gregory that leads the way, and that is Faye Noble-Evans, I think, that's there in second position. The black car with the pink flashes to it, Faye Noble-Evans, has carved her way through into second place at this stage, and that looks as though it may well be Perry Darling, is it, that's there in third position. Difficult to tell with the sun glinting off the cars as they head down in towards the braking area for the old hairpin. Yes, it's Perry Darling that's there in third position, and fourth at this stage. I think that's Ben Grucock probably that's there in fourth place. We've got a few yellow and red cars in the field, but Ben Grucock was the highest placed of those on the grid. So they head up towards McLean's Corner for the first time, turning our way through the corner. I think Darren King is there in fifth position, and we'll try and pick out who's there in sixth place. But everybody again has managed to make the first corner without too much trouble. We had a few spins, didn't we, in the race earlier on today, but I think everybody largely got away with it. It is going to be Wayne Gregory that leads the way. Faye Noble-Evans is in second place. It is Perry Darling in third place. Ben Grucock's fourth. Darren King is in fifth place. And sixth place is Ryan Charters, who won the race earlier on today. He's only there in sixth place. I think it's Graham Hurd who is there in seventh place. The sort of orange and yellow livery suggests that that's Graham Hurd that is next up in seventh. Indeed it is, and it's Sarah Thompson that completes the top 8 at the moment, with Eric Bridges in ninth and Mike Kirtler completing the top 10. So that's the order of the top 10. Ben Grucock trying to see what he can do to get himself in the podium places. He's got the number 81 car of Perry Darling directly ahead of him. They're sort of paired off for the moment, haven't they, the top 6 cars? So we've got Wayne Gregory fighting away with Faye Noble-Evans, Perry Darling fighting away with Ben Grucock, and then the car of Darren King, squabbling away with Mark Charters. So Darren King has now dropped from 5th down into 6th, as Ryan Charters, I should say, I think has squeezed his way through. So yeah, there is the red car of Ryan Charters, a race 1 winner, and behind him is Darren King. So picking their way up towards the blind entry to Coppice Corner. Graham Hurd at the wheel of that yellow and orange car, up to 7th now at the expense of Sarah Thompson, who's dropped down into 8th position. But the leading pair back over the start-finish line. Now, Wayne Gregory, say, qualified on pole for the race earlier on today and was always there or thereabouts until that trip over the back markers saw him retire. So he'll be keen to get some good championship points on the board with this one. Faye Noble-Evans finished 4th in the race earlier on today. She's running in 2nd place. I thought Ben Grucock was going to attack Perry Darling there for the final podium spot, but couldn't quite get there in time when they got towards Redgate Corner. So, understandably, is just making sure he's slotted himself behind as they go back down through the Craner curves towards the old hairpin. Wayne Gregory leading the way, and last time through on the first of the flying laps, setting the fastest lap that we've seen so far in the race, a 1 minute 20.647. He did set the fastest lap of the race earlier on today as well, about 0.6 of a second quicker than that. So already he's finding some good pace from those Control Pirelli tyres that they all run. So up towards Coppice. This is lap number 3 at the moment. Over 21 minutes of the race still to go, so plenty of time to just keep settling in. The race 1 winner, Ryan Charters, still there in 5th place at the moment, but the leading pair coming up towards the Robert chicane to conclude lap number 3 this time through. And I think, having set the fastest lap of the race last time through, I think Wayne Gregory is going to go even quicker this time through. So over the start-finish line he goes. You can see all of the gaffer tape to that front corner following the damage, and it is another new fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 20.146. So that is now a matter of about 70 thousandths of a second slower than the fastest lap he sat in lap number 1. Ben Grucock this time dives up the inside of Perry Darling to try and squeeze his way through into 3rd place. They almost lean on each other midway through the corner. They are pretty close to each other on the way out of the corner, but Perry Darling, just by his fingertips, hangs on to 3rd place. But Ben Grucock certainly showed his intentions there at the wheel of the largely yellow number 86 car. He needs to be careful though, because if he tries something and it doesn't work, race 1 winner, the red machine in the hands of Ryan Charters, is not too far away. Further down through the order, we've got fights going on, and guess what? It's the 2 cars that were fighting for the whole of the race earlier on today. Craig Horvath fighting away with Sarah Wood. That's exactly what we saw in the race earlier on, and I'm afraid we've got a retiree, and that is William Kirtler, the number 11 car, I think, that's pulled off on the top of the Craner curves. And yes, lots of smoke coming from his car, so that's a mechanical issue with it. It looks as though it's coming from the front right-hand corner almost. So marshals will be waving yellow flags in that area, localised yellow flags, so no overtaking just at that part of the circuit. So Wayne Gregory has, according to our screen, lost the lead of the race, but no, he hasn't. I think the transponder has stopped working on that car, because the number 53 car, without question, is still in the lead of the race. He's just been slotted in again by our timekeepers, who realised that the car hadn't registered the lap as he came over the start-finish line. And according to that, that's another new fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 19.854 from Wayne Gregory. So that's now about 0.2 of a second quicker than he managed in the first race of the day. Bearing in mind that his car is bearing the scars of the race 1 from earlier on, it goes to show that there's no ill effects of that damage that was caused when he tripped over the back markers, or the back markers tripped over him, as the case may be. So he leads the way by just over a second now from Faye Noble-Evans, who's still sticking with the task in hand. She's not dropping away too much at all from the race leader, probably knowing full well that traffic will have a part to play in this race, as it did earlier on. Of course, Wayne Gregory will be more than aware of the effect the traffic can have on the race, because for him it caused retirement earlier. Perry Darling still sitting there in 3rd position, and he has not as yet managed to get rid of that car of Ben Grucock from anything other than right behind him. So out of the Robert chicane, lap number 5 about to be completed by the leading pair. Then we wait the arrival of Perry Darling, who has got a bit more daylight actually between himself and Ben Grucock. So it's the black car with the green flash to it of Perry Darling, the larger yellow car of Ben Grucock, then the red machine of the 5th place car of race 1 winner Ryan Charters. Squeal of the Pirelli tyres as Ben Grucock almost ran that little bit wide coming out of Redgate Corn. We've still got those localised yellow flags down through the Craner curves as well, but it certainly now looks as though William Kirtler's car is almost back behind the barriers. There's a little gap in the barrier there where they can get rid of the car. Ryan Charters dives at the inside of Ben Grucock, and surely that's going to put him through into 4th place if he can hang on to it on the way out of the corner, and indeed he has. So the race 1 winner now up into 4th position for Ryan Charters. He's managed to scoop up the 25 points for the race win earlier on this morning. Pole position nets you an extra championship point. Fastest lap nets you an extra championship point. And you also get extra championship points based on the number of starters as well. I think the way the championship format works. Right, that's looking rather close, isn't it? That is Darren King coming under pressure from Graham Hurd, and I think Graham Hurd has just about drawn himself alongside and should have the inside line for the Robert chicane. He's going to be brave enough. Yeah, he brakes as late as he possibly can, and yeah, there's nothing that Darren King could do there. He thought about turning in and then realised no, the inevitable would happen if he did, and had to just correct the steering on the way into the corner. So place gained for Graham Hurd. That now puts him up inside the top 6, and now means that Darren King, who finished on the overall podium in the race earlier on today, he was 3rd position, has now dropped down into 7th position, I'm afraid. Over the start-finish line, this will be Eric Bridges, I think it is, who is going to be fighting away. That will be the 46 car of Matt Goff that's right behind him. That familiar livery of Eric Bridges that he's had for a couple of seasons now, to say the least. Matt Goff's car largely white and blue. I think the yellow flags are probably going to stay at that point of the Craner curves because of William Kirtler's car for the rest of the race. I thought they'd got a little gap in the barriers, they could push it behind, but no, it's still at the point at which it came to rest, I'm afraid to say. So marshals have no doubt been told by race control to keep it as a localised yellow flag zone for the remainder of the race potentially, because there's nowhere you can really shove that car to get it fully out of harm's way. So up towards Redgate Corner, this is going to be Craig Horvath fighting away with Sarah Wood once more. Eric Bridges still trying to keep the number 46 car of Matt Goff behind him, and is doing a very good job of doing so actually as they head out of Coppice Corner this time through. Eric Bridges any slip up at all and Matt Goff will be poised and ready to squeeze his way through, but it is still Eric Bridges in 9th, Matt Goff in 10th at the moment. Out of the Robert chicane, over the start-finish line. 7 laps completed, up towards Redgate Corner. Matt Goff hasn't got enough momentum to get fully up onto turns with Eric Bridges, so the order between those two will still remain the same for sure when the pair head through Redgate Corner in what is round 2 of the 2024 Woods Food Services Porsche Club Motorsport Boxster Cup. 1.5 seconds now is almost the lead advantage that Wayne Gregory's built up between himself and Faye Noble-Evans. It came out by a further 0.3 of a second last time through, whilst this squabble still for the final 2 place inside the top 10 heads round through the old hairpin. One of the best of the fights we've got probably at the moment is for 2nd and for 3rd place. Faye Noble-Evans in the black and the pink number 20 car coming under pressure from Perry Darling. They were separated by a very similar amount of daylight to these 2 cars that we're looking at the moment. So where is Perry Darling? There's Perry Darling now, and Faye Noble-Evans has gone through, has he? Has she? Sorry, Ryan Charters has gone through, I should say. So Perry Darling has lost the place. Faye Noble-Evans is in 2nd position. Ryan Charters, yeah, has moved up to 3rd. Perry Darling's down into 4th. And all of that was whilst they were trying to carve their way through the traffic. So race 1 winner, the red car of Ryan Charters, now back into the podium spots once more. Perry Darling, who was 2nd in the race earlier on, is now off the podium spots, down in 4th place, with still just over half of the race to go. And now, of course, they've got traffic to deal with. So up towards the braking area for McLean's Corner. There was a puff of smoke from somebody there, as though something had happened. And for Ryan Charters, now he finds himself on the inside of the circuit, trying to squeeze his way through a back marker, whilst also coming under pressure from Perry Darling. They both go through and past Craig Horvath and Sarah Wood, who can now concentrate their efforts on having that squabble again that they had in race number 1 and repeating it in race number 2, but up towards the braking area for the Robert chicane, come pretty much together-ish, 2nd, 3rd and 4th places at this stage. So that's Faye Noble-Evans. She's in the black and the pink number 20 car. Ryan Charters, I should say, in the red machine, is going to try for 2nd place, is he? Comes from a long way back on Faye Noble-Evans, but she sees him coming. She can't close the door. And Ryan Charters now all of a sudden up into 2nd position. Faye Noble-Evans down into 3rd. And Perry Darling still sitting there in 4th place, ready to scoop up the spoils should anything happen ahead of him. But already Ryan Charters is starting to gap Faye Noble-Evans. He was quick in towards Redgate. He carried good momentum on the way out, even though he had to take a tighter line in. And yeah, it's a couple of Porsche lengths ahead at this stage as we go past the halfway point of this race now. Now I think that is a car that, by the look of things, yeah, that is not up to full racing speed, is it? So Sarah Wood might have a small problem with her car. The last lap time that she did was about 5 seconds off what she'd previously done. So yeah, it does suggest that there may well be an issue with that car, but we certainly have a brilliant fight going on for 2nd, for 3rd and for 4th place. Faye Noble-Evans is back in full attack mode once more. Makes a light contact with the tail end, I think, of Ryan Charters there. So Ryan Charters just about managing to hang on to it, as Faye Noble-Evans, I think, was so late on the brakes, just tagged the tail end of it. I think the contact was made before he'd started to turn into the corner, so it almost bumped him in a straight line. But for Mark Charters, then he needs to just be aware that, yeah, Faye Noble-Evans is very good on the brakes there going in towards that Robert chicane, and she's very good on the acceleration coming out of Redgate as well. Faye Noble-Evans had a solid season last year in the Woods Foodservice's Boxster Cup, where she finished 3rd overall in the championship standings in the end. Perry Darling, who sits behind her in the number 81 car, was 5th overall in the standings last year. And now if the two of those start to squabble again once more, it just allows Ryan Charters to begin to pull away. So through McLean's corner, 4.7 seconds up the road is Wayne Gregory, who only did a part season in 2023 and therefore finished 13th overall in the standings. We only saw him on a couple of race weekends, I think, Wayne Gregory last year, so it's good hopefully to see him back for the full season. And Perry Darling here is now trying to get himself back on the podium slots. So Faye Noble-Evans is going to have to try and close the door, but I think Perry Darling is probably about where he wants to be, is he? He's braking as late as he can, and no, can't quite squeeze his way through. So Faye Noble-Evans this time just clings on to the podium spot. Less than 10 minutes to go as well. And all of this squabbling and semi-squabbling that's been going on sporadically for 2nd, for 3rd and for 4th has just really played into the hands of Wayne Gregory, who has just edged away all of the time. Even that last lap that they did, Ryan Charters was not in any traffic, but he was still 0.2 of a second slower than Wayne Gregory. So the lead advantage is now up to nearly 4.9 seconds 1st to 2nd place. Up towards the old hairpin on lap number 12 now comes Perry Darling. Still as yet sitting there in 4th position. Can't quite get himself back on the podium spots at the moment. And again, because he is trying to get past Faye Noble-Evans and Faye Noble-Evans is focused on defence, then it's just allowing Ryan Charters to pull away in 2nd place. So the cars in 3rd and 4th are becoming ever more distant again. Through Coppice. Get a good run coming out of Coppice might be the opportunity for Perry Darling. But again, I don't quite think he's going to have enough momentum. He moves out to one side. There's something just flapping off the corner of the car up at the roof line, which looks as though it might be a window rubber or something like that that's perhaps come adrift, or a little bit of tape just on the left-hand side of the car. But with 8.5 minutes to go, the top 4, top 5, all on the Wheatcroft straight together. So they can all see each other. Wayne Gregory, Ryan Charters, Faye Noble-Evans, Perry Darling, and even at the tail end of that little one as well, the car that's in the hands of Grucock, which will be Ben Grucock. Eric Bridges is still got his hands rather full as well. He's still got Matt Goff's car not that far away from him. Now, those two, last time we picked up on it, were having a good little fight, and they're still fighting over the final 2 places inside the top 10, but the order hasn't changed. It's still the number 38 car of Eric Bridges. Then it's Matt Goff, and if you just look off the background of that, then you should see another car right into the pit lane. Just saw briefly there, that is Sarah Wood, so she did have a problem with the number 24 car and has brought it into the pit lane in retirement, I'm afraid to say. And race control, I believe, have also given out a penalty for somebody, and I think it's the number 64 car, which is David Hussey, who has picked up a penalty. He had been given a black and white warning flag, but I think he's probably transgressed the circuit limits one too many times now. He was running in last place anyway, but he's now picked up a 5-second penalty for going beyond the circuit limits too many times. So 7 minutes still to go. Eric Bridges still trying to hang on to 9th place. Matt Goff still trying to wiggle his way through into 9th if he can. So through Coppice Corner, they're on their 13th lap currently. They've got a bit of traffic just up the road, which will be David Hussey's car that they want to try and thread their way through and pass. But David Hussey, to be fair, was very good to the quicker cars in the race earlier on today and instantly got out of harm's way. Faye Noble-Evans in the final podium spot is still desperately trying to hang on to it. The pressure is building. Perry Darling's not going away. And those two are rooted together as they head up towards Coppice Corner. And all of this has just allowed the red car of Ryan Charters, the race 1 winner, to evermore pull away now. He's now nearly 3 seconds up the road, or he was 2.8 when they came over the start-finish line last time through. Faye Noble-Evans is still going to hang on to it. You can see a little bit of the back bumper now also of the number 81 car is just hanging off of Perry Darling. So over the start-finish line, another lap will be completed, so they'll head on to lap number 15 this time through. There'll be some more traffic to contend with. I think it'll be Mike Kirtland's car, which is running down in 11th place. So that'll be the next of the cars they need to deal with. The yellow car almost with the Martini-esque stripe down the centre of it. So through the Craner curves, Faye Noble-Evans 0.8 of a second up the road from Perry Darling on that lap. Where's she going to meet the traffic? The exit of the old hairpin round through Starkey's Bridge and Schwantz curve by the look of things. And if Faye Noble-Evans could put a back marker car between herself and Perry Darling, that will give her a little bit of breathing space. Has she been able to do it? We'll have to wait and see. So there goes the race leader. Wayne Gregory leading the way by 4.4 seconds. The last lap that he did, the lead advantage did come down, but only by 1/10 of a second between himself and Ryan Charters. We've got less than 5 minutes to go now as well. That's onto the brakes and about to conclude lap number 15 goes the Woods Food Services backed machine. So, lap chalked into the book. What does lead advantage do this time? The answer is, well, in second place, Ryan Charters has just set his best individual lap of the race so far, 1 minute 19.9. That was 1.1 seconds quicker than the race leader, so the gap is down to 3.2 seconds, give or take the odd thousandth. So Ryan Charters is on his way. Faye Noble-Evans still sticking her elbows out to try and keep Perry Darling at bay. And those are fighting over 3rd and 4th. That is the closest battle we've got on circuit at the moment as it heads down in towards the old hairpin. Perry Darling a bit quick in towards the old hairpin that time. Just didn't quite get towards the apex. Didn't cost him a great deal of time on the way out though. So up towards McLean's corner. Faye Noble-Evans was about 1/10 of a second slower through the first sector than Perry Darling, and now all of a sudden Perry Darling is looking to attack on the run up towards Coppice, and he might be able to squeeze his way through here. Can he go through? Faye Noble-Evans tries to give him just enough room, but no more than that, and Perry Darling's made it stick. So all of a sudden he's gone through. He was 0.7 of a second down when they came over the start finish line. Well, he's now back into the podium spots again once more with 3.5 minutes to go. Is there anything else that Faye Noble-Evans can do? We know she can brake very late for the Robert chicane. Can she carry good momentum coming out of it? I think Perry Darling probably has the upper hand in terms of exit speed coming out. But of course, Faye Noble-Evans will sit in the slipstream, pick up a bit of a tow, try and distract, but she's not going to be close enough as they head up towards Redgate Corner this time through. So through Redgate, be careful not to run too wide on the way out. Faye Noble-Evans just going beyond the red and white painted curb line. And with Wayne Gregory now 2.8 seconds to the good. And yeah, still losing a little bit of time to Ryan Charters. 0.4 of a second quicker was the car in second place to Wayne Gregory. I think with only being 2.5 minutes on the clock, I think that's more just Wayne Gregory now easing off things and making sure that he maintains a little bit of a gap, but if he gets eaten up a little bit, it won't worry him too much. Perry Darling, since the number 81 car took up third place, is just starting to pull away a little bit now from Faye Noble-Evans. They've got Martin Mason's car that will need dealing with before too much longer. You can see the yellow square with the black diagonal cross through the centre of it, indicating that he's still a novice driver, but is well aware as to what's going on. Moves out of harm's way, lets Perry Darling go through, lets Faye Noble-Evans go through. And for our race leader, he's still got work to deal with now as he heads on to his penultimate lap of the race this time through. He's got back markers to deal with, and thankfully, if he can clear those back markers, then the car in second place, which is Ryan Charters, has got that traffic to deal with. And yeah, that's exactly what Wayne Gregory has done. He's cleared the back markers on the exit of Redgate Corner. He's got 2 or 3 back markers between himself and Ryan Charters with only a lap and a half to go. And therefore, all is looking good for him to put right the wrongs of earlier on today when he was running right at the sharp end of the order, but ultimately posted a retirement on what was lap number 17 of the 19 that took place. So out of McLean's corner goes the car of Ryan Charters. He has safely dispatched the number 61 of Nick Lawrence a lap down. The sister car to it that was in the hands of Nick Wallace earlier on today, I don't think was able to be repaired, so we haven't seen him back out on the grid. But onto the final lap of the race goes not just the race leader, but the number 11 car of Mark Charters, who's there in second place. Now, the gap is going to be about 3-4 seconds, something like that. Yeah, 3.3 seconds. So as long as Wayne Gregory is neat and tidy on this lap, there is no way that Ryan Charters is going to get anywhere near him. But Wayne Gregory, say, had ill fate befall him late on in the race earlier on today, so we'll be well aware of that. Looks as though there's another penalty as well gone the way of number 17, which is Darren King. So Darren King is picking up a 5-second penalty for track limits. Both himself and number 64 David Hussey have gone beyond the circuit limits too many times, so corrected times will drop Darren King, who was on the podium in third place earlier on today, further down through the order as the race leader heads up towards McLean's for the final time this time through. So out of McLean's corner, up towards Coppice goes Wayne Gregory, and well, it looks as though it is going to be a fairly dominant victory, really. When the lights went out from pole position, he got the good start, and whilst he's been put under pressure from Faye Noble-Evans in the early stages of the race, his car hasn't dropped off at all, whereas Faye Noble-Evans will ultimately come through in 4th position by the look of things. So up towards the braking air for Roberts for the final time. You can see the scars on the front of the car following the retirement earlier on today in race number 1, but that's corrected by Wayne Gregory in race number 2. He comes through to claim the win in the second round of the championship for 2024 in the Woods Foodservices Porsche Club Motorsport Boxster Cup. Second is Ryan Charters that finishes in second place. Third place is Perry Darling. Faye Noble-Evans will come through in 4th place. And is it going to be Ben Grucock that's there in 5th place? Yes, it is Ben Grucock that's there in 5th place, but only half a second ahead of the car that finishes behind him, which was Graham Hurd, who finished in 7th position over the, in 6th position over the start-finish line to take the checkered flag. In 7th is Darren King, and I think he got more than 5 seconds between himself and the next of the cars, so I ultimately think that 5-second penalty he's given isn't really going to affect him, because Sarah Thompson is still as yet to take the checkered flag in 8th place, and more than 5 seconds have ticked by now. So for Darren King, actually, it didn't ultimately affect his finishing position. So up towards McLean's corner, hand aloft, waving. Wayne Gregory will be more than pleased that the disappointment of race 1 is immediately corrected and he heads to the top step of the podium in race number 2 and round number 2 of the Woods Food Services Porsche Club Motorsport Boxster Cup, which will pack things up here at Donington Park, and then they'll head towards Brands Hatch down in Kent on the Grand Prix circuit down there on the 18th of May before they'll go to Oldham Park on the 29th of June. Then it's the coastal circuit at Anglesey on the 13th of July before they go to Croft in August. Back to Donington here on the Grand Prix circuit in September. They'll finish the season at Snetterton. To confirm the results, then Wayne Gregory takes the win by just over 3 seconds in the end from Ryan Charters in second place, and Perry Darling completes the podium. 2 out of 2 for Perry Darling. On terms of podiums, as it was for Ryan Charters. Faye Noble-Evans finishes in 4th place, with Ben Grucock in 5th place, and Graham Hurd was there in 6th position. Darren King came through in 7th place, ahead of Sarah Thompson, who was there in 8th place. Matt Goff was 9th and did finally work his way through and ahead of Eric Bridges, who dropped down into 10th position. Those two had a race-long battle pretty much, and then as we head outside of the top 10, it was Mike Kirtler who was there in 11th place. 12th place goes the way of Nick Lawrence. Before it's then Craig Horvath in 13th place. 14th place was Martin Mason. 15th place was a number 64 car of David Hussey, and he was the last of the cars to take the checkered flag because there's a retirement for Sarah Wood and there's a retirement for Will Kirtler as well in round 2 of the Woods Food Services Porsche Club Motorsport Boxster Cup. So thanks for joining us at Donington Park. That's the last of our Boxster Cup action here today. We'll see you next time out when we all go to Brands Hatch and the Grand Prix circuit. Goodbye.